Hey, I know it's been a while since I've made a video. I have my microphone, my recording mic that I use whenever I'm jotting down a song. So that's part of the reason why I haven't made a video in a while. But also, I just want to talk about um, what happened after my last video. If you cannot see, there's clothes everywhere right now. There's a lot going on. Um, the last video I made came with a lot of backlash that I didn't expect just yet because I planned on talking about my full experience and the real reason why I was leaving, and I hadn't even gotten to that part yet. Um, and the video that I made just talking a little bit about what happened to me and my experience led to people wanting to meet with me and the word lawsuit going around, all these things, just because I vocalized what I've been through, what happened. And I know that's not something that you're always supposed to do, but before I decided to take this route, I tried to speak to people and asked for advice to try to see if there was something that could be done. And nobody cared because it was all about. So, yeah, I didn't really know if I wanted to post the videos. The videos are done, but I wasn't sure if I should post them on here. So that's why there's a latency between the video I just posted and this one. So I wanted to just make sure I said that first. I will be going into my experience and I will be doing a full round. I'm so sorry to everybody who said they were going to sue me. Please do come to US soil, come to New York City, and come meet my lawyer if you want to do that because I won't be having names, but I will be going over what these companies did to me. And if you're looking to travel the world and go abroad, what to not do and how to not end up in a situation that is bad. I don't know how else to say it. Like, how to not end up in a situation. I can't even explain. Even now, like, I have a friend who's still in the situation and she's like, "You are so lucky to get out when you got out." And when I was speaking to someone who had gotten fired, and they were like so angry because I had gotten a promotion that wasn't even a real promotion. Child, I told her, I was like, "Be happy you got out. You know, like you're out. Nothing really is crazy has happened to you. You aren't blackballed or anything like that. You're not blacklisted like they threatened me with. Like you're out. You know." Um, So that's why I haven't posted another video. Another reason why is just because right now I am coming towards the end. Oh my gosh, finally. Of this EP project being finished. I am literally rounding it out to last recordings, which is like something I never thought we'd get to in the beginning of this year. I really didn't see myself. I really did not expect this project to even be finished. This is a labor of love that I've been doing independently for a bit, and I'm going to get into that a little bit with my experience, but just bear with me because I recorded this whole entire thing and I was flowing off the top of my head and it was going so well. And then I realized that the DAW that I was using to record the songs was still connected to my Focusrite Solo. So the audio wasn't being recorded while the video was. And now that the video is being recorded, it's kind of slow. So I'm just a little bit frazzled, but that's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Um, I've done a lot of running, and this project is very special to me because I don't do this for clout. I didn't want to do this for clout for so many reasons. I don't want to be famous. I want community. Nothing is more healing for me than going into the booth I'm a person that believes in therapy. I believe that if you are a creative of any kind, if you have any type of art, you should definitely be in therapy. The reason why so many people want to be oppressed and their music and their art sucks is because without pain, without oppression, there is no great art. And that is why, as an artist, it is should be a part of your duty, but also for your longevity of life, you need to go to therapy. It is so important. Um, and I also feel like with therapy, you can't just go to therapy and or take the drugs and then that's it. You have to have the additional building blocks to get you to the point of where you want to be. So yes, it's therapy and or medications, but it's also, are you recording in the studio? Are you exercising? Do you have a good support system? What are your hobbies outside of, what you're doing for work? What are your hobbies outside of your friends? What are your friendships like? What are your other relationships like? All of these things are important. How you feed yourself, your gut health has a lot to do with your reproductive and your mental health at the same time. These are all things that are connected holistically. And it took me such a long journey for me to like really master that, because when I had a lot of opportunities going for me when I was younger, when I had a lot of writing mentors when I was younger, and I was in a lot of competitions, I did not have a grasp on me and who I had to be for life. That's just something I just did not have. It's unfortunate, but like, ow, hold on, my back hurts. It's unfortunate. Oh wait, but now I'm too far away from the microphone. See, I love these new editing style videos where you don't edit at all because it's just raw and I don't have to make everything super perfect compared to like back in the day, because I'm a Virgo, I'm a perfectionist, and this is like it's unattainable. And now what's in again is like real raw conversations. Um I didn't have the support system that I needed. I had my parents now in my 30s apologize to me and recognize that I didn't have support. I had more of whatever I wanted, whatever I needed for my artist journey, but I didn't have the support that I needed as a human being to figure out where I was. And at the age that I was, that was super important to find myself from when you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Like, it is more important to find who you are and what your place is in this world than to have an acting coach, an improv, um, my gosh, an agent, to be in piano lessons, vocal lessons, even though shout out to my vocal trainer, one of the best in the world. I'll go over that. And then take tap, jazz, ballet, hip hop, African cantata classes, dance classes, um, and then learn Spanish and French and go to a preparatory school that doesn't let you get summers off because you got to be in summer school, and every other weekend you got to go to school on Saturday. And you have like, it's just, you don't have the chance of only not only finding yourself, but I also never got to be with my family. I never got to get the love and acceptance. And whenever I did have free time, instead of me being with my family, I was kind of pushed off to be with people who did not only not have the best, you know, didn't have the best in mind for me, but also did some horrible things to me. And so, even though I was being told by so many people, like, oh, you're going to make it, you're the one, this is so great, you're like Neo in the Matrix, all this stuff, you're so smart. Even with me winning multiple competitions for my writing, um, it didn't feel like I was actually ever good enough or good because I didn't have support. I didn't feel loved. And to hear that from my parents, now it's affirming, but it also makes me sad because it took me so long to get to the point of where I'm at. But now that I understand how life is and the ebb and flow of life, and I'll get to that as well, I've realized things had to happen this way in order for me to be the place and position that I'm in. Um, my vocal coach was this lady that came to my church. She was a great opera singer, and she sung this song so well when I was in the choir. And I went up to my mom and my grandpa, and I was like, I want her to teach me how to sing. And they got her for me. And I took her for advantage. I did not really respect her as much as I should have. And I really wish I did, because she's no longer here with us after 2020. And everything she's ever taught me, she was right about. Um, a lot of this stuff is just confidence. And I didn't have those building blocks, so I didn't understand what she was talking about. And from the outside looking in, you could have looked at my life and thought, oh my God, what is this girl complaining about? Like everything she wants, she has. But I was like really suffering for a really long time. And I would even talk about my suffering, and it was like nobody cared. No one wanted to hear it because that's not what they see, that's not what they believe. So it was really hard for me to exist in these spaces. I got a lot of opportunities. A lot of people would randomly just come up to me and be like, hey, we got this project, that project. And I would even try to make projects up for myself that I just wasn't ready for because I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the support of the personality of me yet. I just didn't have it. And a lot of that stuff comes from the inside. But when you're younger and you are brand new to this world, you've only been here for 8 years, 10 years, 16 years, you don't know anything. You don't know anything. Even if people make you think that you know it all and you can do it, you are a child. There's no way you're going to know how to adapt with everything that's coming from you. And looking at a lot of my peers and my friends, even to this day, who are in this industry, and what they went through and how they navigated through that, even with the support systems and the family that they had, they still went through like some tough times. And I could only think of how tumultuous that would have been for me without the support. Like, I don't want to imagine what that would have been like at all for me personally. I don't think that would have been good for me. Um, but yeah, let's talk about how I used to think opportunities would go away and they don't, because the path that you're supposed to be on, even if you diverge from it, your path will always still be your path. When I was younger, I did not want to be a writer. It started out with, honestly, I want to say like my writing journey started off really young. I wrote really like interesting, compelling things. I would look back and be like, I was like this at 5. Like, what's going on at a very young age? Because I was read to very, very young and I was reading very, very young. I remember my babysitters driving me somewhere. I don't know. I was a literal baby, but they loved to tell the story over and over again. And one day I started talking and reciting all the things I saw. And they looked around and they were so shook because they're like, she could talk? And it was just like, yeah, I could talk. I just wasn't talking around most people because I didn't feel comfortable. And my mom, she wouldn't like always talk about it, or a lot of things that happened to me, or like, milestones or whatever, like she would forget because she had other things going on. So like she remembered because she would be like, oh yeah, she do be saying words, but like I was like full blown talking, like I was saying things. And so I was catching on that people were like and amazed and looking at me and like, thinking all these things. And I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna go back into hermit mode. Y'all are being weird. And that also, because everybody was always older around me when I was younger, that also made it hard for me to make friends and talk to people and be around people. I was very much so a loner for a very, very long time. And one of the ways I broke out of that, because I had like one main friend growing up, and we would play Barbies and write like stories, like soap operas and dramas about the Barbies. And before that, I don't even know how I learned about poetry. I think it was like one of the children books that I've read. And I was like, I'm going to write my own poetry. And the community my mother lived in, they would like have this, it used to be this big thing. They would have this committee, and they still have a committee, and you would have to get voted into it. And usually, if you're going to be a politician in New York City, you start off in your building committee, and then you become a politician so that you have the votes from the people that are in your community. And one of the things that they would do is, my mom was on the committee, they would always vote for someone to like do a poem or write something for Mother's Day, or somebody had passed away that we really cared about, or a holiday. And every single time from like the age of 5 that I would write, I won every single time, to the point that they were like, let somebody else do it. And then I went to middle school, and I'm going to middle school with a bunch of like chess savants and math savants. One of my friends from middle school has like what, three or more Emmys, and like I'm surrounded by all these amazing people. And then a new class comes in. I'm in the pioneer class. A new class comes in, and there's this girl. To this day, she's such an amazing person, such an amazing writer. Her story is amazing, blew me right out the water. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even like the best anymore. I have nothing. And I'm not that great in math. You know, I'm getting beat in writing, and writing was my thing. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I decided to go to a fashion school. And my piano teacher was best friends with my fashion teacher, and they both knew my grandpa. So the whole greatness conversations never ended. My grandfather was a well known photographer in Harlem. And he rest in peace. I love my grandpa. He tried to teach me everything about like navigating this world and being an artist, but also saving your money and all these amazing things. So he knew all of the other greats. And my piano teacher already had got on me so much, like so much. And then she's best friends with my fashion teacher, who would literally rip out all of my seams and be like, do it again 10 times. Who would tell me, why are you buying clothes from Old Navy? Why are you buying clothes from this place, that place? You know, that's going to be done and rips and maybe lasts like 6 washes. Fast fashion is not it. Buy sustainable pieces. And she would just drill me and drill me and drill me. And I was just like, oh my God, I just want to be a normal person. I just want to get away from these people. But everything these people said was 110% right. Everything they said was like the quality of clothes is trash. Like everyone in my path was so right, and I would have mentors. Like, I think what really like deterred me was not only how sad I was, but I would have mentors who were writers, and not all of them, because I had one mentor who, she grew up in my community. Many people who grew up in my community ended up being successful in entertainment, but one specifically, she acted in a lot of things. And I was watching Sex and the City the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you was in this too, girl. And she had like one breakthrough movie that everybody knows. It's like a black classic, and like just skyrocketed. And I remember back then, before she became her own writer and producer and director, and she's doing her own thing right now. She was like one of those people that around the age of 16, like I was hearing the comments about like you should get a nose job since I was 8 years old. But when I was 16, it was, you should get a nose job and you should be less, you know, you should be, and I wasn't being hot in the pants, but you should be less like that. And it just turned me off because it was just like, I'm only like, I can't even figure out my own self. I can't even figure out what I like. I can't even figure out what I need. I can't be a normal person. Everybody's telling me what I have to be like, and I'm nobody. Like, why would I want to be what you are? You can't even be yourself. And when I did meet writers who would like, I would go out to eat at like Amy Roof's or like Nick and Steph's, and they would sit down and would have conversations with me and whatnot. And they're middle class. So it's like, why do I want to be a writer? Like, everybody's telling me I should do all these great things or whatever, but it's like nobody's actually like doing what I want to do. Nobody's happy in their life. So why would I want to be like them? You know? So I had like mixed feelings about it, but it was like writing was always calling me back, girl. It was no way that I could ignore it. Like it got crazy. I remember after her, like I got your girl got kicked out of fashion high, and I went to another school, and I was like, that school, so many things, so many weird things happened. They had me in my last 2 years going to school for two classes and then one class because they forgot about my math class. And then the chancellor actually reached out to them and was like, hey, three of your students haven't taken all the needed requirements to graduate with their advanced regents diploma. So what you going to do about that? And of course, I failed my math class, so I didn't get into the writing school program that I got into. Vassar actually invited me out to their school. It's like a bus of like a bunch of girls. This is an all girl school. If I would have went to that school, I would have been a whitewashed lesbian. And they invited all of us out to their school overnight to like learn and like be around like the writing lectures and all that stuff and like get to know what that school was like. And I did not get into that school because of that. But prior to that, they had me in a writer's camp, which is where I met one of my friends, Bobby Ashley, who has two great, well, one great show and one great movie. He's working on the other one right now. And in September, he will be at the Apollo where there'll be a live reading of his scripts and rendition of it. So if you can't get tickets for it, go check it out. But the Av on Amazon Prime and Single Man Problems on Tubi is so good. I swear I met him. And I remember my English teacher being like, this is what you were born to do. You're a writer. And I was just like, I don't think I am. I think I should go to nursing school. And he was like, I don't think you should go to nursing school. I think you're a writer. And I was like, okay, fine. So I did a little writer's camp thing and I was like, all right, okay. And I put it to the side. I went to college. I went to college to become, first, I was going to do business. And I was like, girl, if you don't go to the top 5 business schools, getting an MBA means literally nothing. Getting a business degree means literally nothing. Because these schools are going to scout you, make sure you have a perfect credit score, make sure you have a perfect alignment for these top consulting and finance jobs. And if you don't, then this is a waste of time. So I was like, nursing it is because I want to take care of people. I have nurses in my family. I love caring for others. Why not? If you do not get a B, specifically in my school, if you get anything less than a B in nursing, you fail. So I failed. And I was like, okay, let me do my art thing for a bit while I'm taking time off for a semester from nursing school. And while I was in art, I was competing with one of my friends who is now an epidemiologist. Shout out to you, girl. Book. To have like the perfect art grade. That was the one thing I could beat her in. And I was like, art's my thing. I'm going to beat her in art. And we had to do a demonstration of an art technique. And we were doing like art history tests, and I was getting straight hundreds on them. And then my art materials for this specific project was running out. And on the back of my B letter grade that knocked me literally 2 points down from my friend's grade, my art professor wrote on the back, you cannot always be perfect, yada, 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 even in life. This is why I think you should be an artist. And I was so pissed, but it was like the first lesson I needed to get as a Virgo and as a perfectionist that I am not going to always have what I want, and it's not going to always be perfect. It's not going to always be exactly the way I envisioned it, exactly the way I planned it, because life doesn't go that way. But before I could even really adjust to that, because I'm still a young adult, brand new to life still, I'm still running. Running from everything. I didn't really have a great support system. And after I had flunked out of nursing school, my family was like, okay, girl, you on your own. You got to figure out how to pay for school, get loans, figure it out. So I took some pre-law classes in between that time because my journey was still to get, my nursing degree. I ended up doing the LPN route. But girl, I was so hard-headed after like a year. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I'm out. And I had so many opportunities and notice that. Like I had my god sister who was a midwife who works as like a nurse practitioner, and I did an internship day with her or what I don't remember what exactly it's called. And I couldn't even remember to put my gloves on because I was so out of the loop. Like, what? Girl, like what? It just wasn't for me. And so back to the law school story. There was a friend of mine at the time. We're no longer friends because male friends in the music industry don't always work out the way they're supposed to, especially the ones that don't go to therapy. He was in law school. He was in pre-law because his dad was a lawyer, and every single time his dad would give him money for school, he would spend the money on producing equipment, like production equipment for music. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Wow. I used to write and I sing. So I sung for him and he was like, and then I like showed him some of my poems and he was like, oh, babe, I got a job for you. And that's when I got introduced into the world of people who want to be famous but can't write and may or may not should be doing what they're trying to do. So like a lot of IG models who wanted to pivot into new careers or people who just have money. Um, for books, girl, because like, listen, times are hard when you're in school. Okay, it don't matter who your daddy is. It don't matter who your mammy is. Like, if you don't have the money, you are real creative in those startup years. And that ended up being a slippery slope to me, like getting introduced to certain producers in Atlanta that I honestly kind of wish I didn't meet. To be 110% honest with you, but like getting a glimpse into something that I still just was not ready for. Um, and me being a people pleaser far too much, and also being obsessed with getting something done and getting something done correctly and perfectly. That was just not the right space for me to be in at that time. And so I ran again and I just went right back into nursing school. And then after I realized it wasn't for me, I ran to the Southwest. I spent a lot of my time in Arizona, Las Vegas, Cali, in Houston, Texas, Cypress, Texas, Houston, Texas, for about 5 to 7 years, 7 years. And I'm so glad I did that when I did, to be honest with you, because back then, the way life was set up, it's not even, it's nowhere near the way it is now. Like it was just a different experience. It's the experience that you see in movies. It's the experience that people talk about. It's a beautiful and wonderful experience that I'm so glad I was able to have being someone from New York. Unlike the New York and LA's kind of like, or New York and the Southwest version of like what it's like to be known and what it's like to, be in this industry and work through it, is it mirrors each other, but they are vastly different. Um, so that experience down there was really cool, but I was still running. So I started to work for startup companies that did not, align with me personally. And I was at first just telling myself, oh, I'm just going to work for these companies because I know I can. Like I would get interviews the same day from places like GoDaddy, and people would be on their like fourth try interview, and I would get through just in like one round. And I was like, I'm just doing this for the money. And then once I have the money, I'm going to focus on like, my true purpose. But I still didn't want to even align to myself to my true purpose. I'm still running from it. So I was getting caught up in just the aspect of making more money, more money, more money. My idea of abundance was getting warped into this monetary idea instead of me being comfortable with the fact that abundance isn't always money. Abundance sometimes is opportunity, the abundance of opportunity. And I get into this because when I was younger, there was a lot of opportunities that I passed up on, and why my family felt like I needed so many mentors, because I just didn't feel ready. And I would see, even though like what's being in documentaries right now wasn't something that was widely talked about when I was a teenager, I was always told to change different parts of me, change how fat I was, change my nose. I would see things that I knew as a child I wasn't supposed to see, and I just wasn't comfortable with that. And I would see people who were my age and going through this and did come from my community and what they were going through and what that life was like. I didn't want it for me. I just wanted to hang out with them when they got to do the cool things, like come back to Harlem and go to the picnics and drink Nouveau when we wasn't supposed to. Like that was fun for me. The rest of that stuff was not fun for me. Like I just didn't want that. And then still I was unknown. So I'm going to my peers and telling them what's going on. And they're thinking I'm lying to them. And I'm like, okay, girl. And now we are living in the year where you're realizing, girly pop, I was never lying. So that was interesting. That was fun. However, I just wasn't ready for those opportunities. But those opportunities never really go away. Um, The last 4 years of my life have been really, really tough for me. 2010 was tough for everybody. Um, and I almost lost my whole family. Um, and then they got the antibodies, thank God, which I know I should be very, very grateful for because that's something that everybody gets. And then 2021 was just like the year that I just kept trying to grasp and hold on to life, and I kept slipping. And one of the ways that really messed with me back then, one of the things that really messed with me back then was I thought I was seeing things because of all the trauma I had been through. In 2020, I had went to Westchester Haven for depression and certain type of thoughts and actions. And in 2021, I had finally graduated from like my therapy program, and I was like, okay, I feel like I can deal with stress differently. I feel like I can deal with sadness differently. And then I had a love of my life when I met him when I was 15, and on my 21st birthday, um, he met a girl who was born the day before me, like hours before me, and started parading around with her, and I had lost it. And his attempt to keep me around was to say to me, "Oh, let me just play with her, and let me marry you and give you the first son that you want so badly. I'll give you everything you want." And like he wanted to design a ring for me, but I really was interested in. If you ever seen the ring before, it's an amazing ring. Cartier has a version of it as well, but you cannot find the Tiffany and Co version. It's a yellow canary Tiffany and Co with side set pyramid diamonds on each side. Gorgeous ring. That's the ring I wanted. I've seen it in other people's hands before because I've told them that's the ring I wanted, but it's so gaudy to me today. I don't even want it. And he thought that he could like dangle that in front of me and I wouldn't leave. I would be like some lost, confused girl. And I said, no, keep it. If I am not your everything, how about I be nothing? Nothing at all to you. Nothing at all. And fast forwards me being in Arizona, I'm thinking I'm going crazy because I'm seeing him. So I go back into therapy because we're from New York City. I'm across the country. I gotta be seeing things, right? Like I gotta be crazy. Something's wrong in my head. Like it has to be me, girl. Turns out, and this man has never worked for a corporation ever. Never worked for a business ever. Has always been his own business. Has always managed his own people on his own. Has had done like just so many amazing things on his own. Never needed to do this. Was working for a virtual reality company 3 blocks away from my house, and then my house was sold that same year. Um, and the house was sold for like 3 times its rate. And when we had broken up and he had gotten rid of the home that we would go to, it was sold for like, I want to say 4 times less than what it should have been sold for. And I only knew that because my mom showed it to me and she was like, oh, he is insane. And I was like, I didn't even know you was keeping up with him because you hated him. And she was like, yeah, but I know how much you loved him. So I wanted to like look into him more. Yeah, like he told me like he had to get rid of everything, otherwise he would always go back to me. And he meant it. And I forgot that. Like when I was growing up and I went away to school, he had told me that he was jealous of me going to college. And randomly, he didn't know where I was, didn't know what school I was because we had taken a break. Didn't have my phone number because I had went from an iPhone to a Virgin Mobile regular phone because I wanted to live a very like basic, regular, normal life. I wanted to just be a kid, be a young adult. And he had found my number and called me randomly. And he was like, I could just fly to you. I will find you whenever I want to. And I had forgotten about that for a bit because I was like in Arizona and I was living this life that just felt normal. I was breathing in the air and working a really well paying job, and I had a beautiful luxury apartment, and everything felt normal in my life. I didn't feel like I needed anything else. Everything felt calm, everything felt peaceful. I had a regular boyfriend, even though he wasn't the one for me. I felt like like I lived a regular American life, even though that's not a thing and that's not something that was supposed to be made for me ever. I just wanted to understand that maybe I could be a normal girl. Um, so that really rocked me. And then in 2022, I was diagnosed with antiphospholipid syndrome, a blood clotting disorder, also known as Huge syndrome, way too late after years of trying to figure out what's going on. If it wasn't for the very first Black OBGYN I've ever met, after all the expensive rheumatologists my parents had sent me to, um, she found it in just doing the blood test that was needing to be done that nobody else thought they needed to do. I had been tested for pituitary cancer so many times, and no one thought to do a simple blood test that could have saved me from so much heartache and so much pain. But when it was finally done, I didn't feel hopeful. I didn't go, oh, yay, we finally know what's wrong. I felt defeated because so many things have happened at that time, and how severe it was, I gave up hope. And in the midst of me giving up hope, I had lost two friends who also gave up hope as well. I recorded this before and it never gets easier. And they're a part of my community, and I wish they were here today so that I could talk to them. And I was feeling really, really low and alone. And then an album came out that honestly helped me in so many ways. And I listened to it every single day. When I first listened to it, there was a song on the album that I heard, and it kind of sounded like what the way I would explain it before what happened next was I would listen to it and it sounded like the beat sounded like what was in my head, like the way my brain works. And I loved it so much. And everybody else loves this song. It is the song on the album. Like one of the outside of the singles, it was the song. And well, this is the song on there that's because I'm a Virgo, it's my favorite. And I love this so much. And I was like, this is going to be the thing that holds me on. And I went through a really rough 2022, a really rough 2023. And I finally got on the other side. And I was posting a lot of inspiration. I was thinking about buying equipment to get back into writing songs. And as I was doing this, I was on a lot of social media networks, and there was a lot of eyes on me, a lot of views. I was seeing who was watching my stories, and I was putting clips of my favorite artist that I'm talking about. The album that came out, that's like my number one album, but their debut album is like number two. And there's one song in there that everybody loves. It's one of my favorite songs. And I was listening to Lucchini's This Is It and the beat, and I was like, oh, I love this. I like it. And I put them back to back. And I aspired to go to the concert for my favorite artist's new album. And when the concert started and they played the mashups of those two songs, I cried. I literally cried. I was like, oh my God, like, this is everything. This is like, I'm so glad I'm still here to be able to witness this, to hear it. It is so good. Like, this is like the mashups of my two favorite songs. It's so good. Like, it just was everything to me. And I was turning 30, so I decided to go to two of my favorite artists' concert and make it a luxury event, luxury vacation for me. And I loved that. And as I came home, the person from the album, my number one album, the number one album that I love from my favorite artist, the song that felt like what was going on in my head, that beautiful song, the producer that made the beat of that song Somehow we got connected. I don't know. People keep asking me how this happened. I don't know. I literally cannot tell you. Maybe it's my network. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And he was like, "You want to work together? Name your price, whatever you." And I was floored. I was like, "You want to work with me? You want to work with me? Like I want to work with you, but you want to work with me? Crazy." And so yeah, we worked together. We're making this amazing song. And it is so good because for the first time, and I'm looking back at my 20s when I used to write songs for other people, and I'm looking back when I was a child and people told me how I should sing a certain song, how I should write, how I should do this, how I should do that. Everything was what I wanted. Like the beats, the song, the lyrics, the tempo, everything was me. Like he was just there to, carry the idea through. And the reason why I picked him wasn't just because of how he made that song, but other artists that I also liked that he had worked in creative projects with. The sound was ethereal. The way he takes photos, it was very ethereal. Like it was just something about it. It was like he gets the vision of what is in my head. And that is a community space that I want to be in. And the people I want to be in community with are there. I just have to go and find them. And I was really, really grateful for this experience. And every time I listen to the song, it like brings me to tears. Like I listen to the song that he made for my favorite artist, and I listen to the song that he makes for me, and it makes me so happy. I went through a lot to get the song, but I'm happy I had it. When I was playing it to my friends, and they're listening to it, they're like, "This song makes me want to go on a long drive at night and just ride out and just feel." And that's exactly what I want it to be. I want you to just feel something. If you are laying in your bed at nighttime in Brooklyn, I want you to rise up out of your bed, somehow past the building, past the green trees that line, is it like green maple trees that line the street? Keep going all the way up to the midnight stars and look at them and just stay there and feel, cry if you need to. Like that's what I really want it to be. And just having that made me go, "Oh, I was supposed to always do this, huh?" Now I am hard headed, I have people tell me I'm very, very hard headed. I go, instead of me going from point A to point B, I go to point A and then C, then E, and then I go around B, and then I go to B. Which is just like how I've always been. But I had to understand that in life, you have to be happy for the ups and the downs. There's an ebb and flow in life. Nothing in life is just joyous. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, how much opportunity, how privileged you have. Nobody goes through life without suffering. To even be born, both the mother and the baby have to go through some sort of pain and suffering. A plant, once it pushes and opens up from its seed, has to push through all of that soil to sprout. There is always going to be some sort of suffering for something to be produced, to be created, something beautiful to happen. When we are at the lowest lows in the economy and the job market and the housing market, it picks back up and it pushes us down, only to push us back up and propel us forward, only to come back down. Even the Jeremy and bury me of life, that twists and turns and makes whatever beautiful nature this universe is, the ebb and flow of life, there has to be some sort of suffering. And I'm so grateful for my life. I used to be like, "Oh, I should have gone back. I should have married, love of my life. I should have did this. I should have did that. I should have did all these things differently." But if it wasn't for my struggle and my pain, I would not have beautiful art. If it wasn't for me in my time of being alone and in solitude, if it wasn't for me, going down south to the southwest and then going to Southeast Asia and running and getting to this point of solitude to where I had to work on myself, where I had nothing else better to do but to read and learn and understand and practice and listen to other people and go to certain seminars and go to like small performances and pick up from other artists and learn and learn and learn. If it wasn't for all of that, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I'm very grateful for those experiences because I don't know what I would have been like if I would have went back, but there is no going back. There's only forward. So what I did with my time, even if it looks like, oh, everybody that has or is already on like their third award. I never really cared about awards anymore. I always cared about community. When I look at all of my favorite writers to this day, none of them are under the age of 32. All of my favorite songwriters right now, especially the ones who are like late bloomers and now they're the artists, none of them are younger than 32. None of them are younger than 30. Everybody's either about to turn 30 or has already been 30 for a minute. Some of them are pushing 40. Some of them are pushing 50. The experience and the training and all the media training, everything you've learned, everything you go through makes you a legend, makes you a star. I don't think I would have ever been ready for what I'm doing now at the age of where I was when I knew I wasn't ready for what I'm going through. And I'm just now touching like the golden egg. It's just now coming to me. But even though it's just now coming to me, and I used to feel like, oh, I'm such a late bloomer. If it's happened for everyone in my circle, but it hasn't happened for me, it probably will never happen. That's not true. I never missed the bus. It wasn't taking its time. It just wasn't time when I thought it was time for everybody else. And for a lot of people who, got on that bus maybe a little too early, things like they're trying to catch up to the learning as they go. I don't want to do that. I want to be ebb and flowing this life, okay? I want to be in and out this industry when I can and when I want to, so it doesn't consume me and make me something I don't want to be. I don't want to be a person that is consumed with needing more power and more abundance. And then it becomes this cycle of you need more money to have more power, you need more power to have more money, you need more this, you need more that, you need to keep going. I really want to be well rounded on my own. And I feel like acknowledging that there is light and there is darkness. In order to have light, there must be darkness. In order to have darkness, there must be light. And understanding that everyone is horrible in their own way and everybody makes mistakes. And that is life. And understanding life truly has gotten me to understand that my path is always my path. The opportunities will always be there. All I have to do is get back on the path. You know something is really for you when you keep thinking about it over and over again. Like I know a song, I have to make it a song. When if I heard it in the shower in my head, because sometimes like I just be like the most inconvenient times I think of something and it's like I have to get it out. And that's why I bought this equipment because it's starting to get to a point where it was pissing me off. And like when it's like something that you have to make when you cannot stop thinking about it when it like because sometimes I'll have songs I'm like, oh, this is cute, girl, and I forget it. But if I just it keeps going, I have to make it. And that's kind of like what writing is to me. I can never ever stop thinking about it. It is something that's always there. And in the weirdest times and these weirdest moments, the craziest opportunities happen to me. And no one can explain what, how, or why, but it just does happen because it's alignment and it's your path. And I know that sounds so woo-woo and spiritual, but it's true. It's really true. Like I really believe that it is true because that is exactly what it's been like in my life. I've had so many divergence, so many things that I've done outside of what I was supposed to do. I used to fight things so much when I was younger because I just didn't want to believe in it. I just didn't want to like see it. But it is literally that. It's literally that. It is nothing you can do about it, honestly. You could really try to fight it, or you can align yourself with what your path is so you can finally be in your happiest true self. And your path is not going to make you feel drained. It's not going to make you feel like this is something that you're not supposed to do. Your path is going to feel natural. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say that you're going to not have all the range of emotions, including sadness and anger and defeat. This is a normal part of life, but it is going to be the thing that feels natural and normal to you. And for me, working a 9 to 5 job, having a nuclear family, being like, an everyday citizen, like, girl, I don't know what it was that everybody else saw in me when I was younger. Could be so many different things with the way my life was when I was a kid, but they knew that wasn't for me. And the only reason why I wanted it is because I just wanted to know what love felt like for people who live normal and regular lives. And I guess the reason why I was never supposed to have that is because I was supposed to speak and write and sing about love in ways that other people have, the ways that are not acceptable or the norm for everybody or what everybody's expected to have, because that doesn't always exist for everyone. And the community of people that I get to meet who are just like me or who are late bloomers and believe in therapy or whatever the case may be, whoever is in my alignment in my community, I cannot wait to meet them. I cannot wait to share and explore my artistry with them. I can't wait for them to consume it. I can't wait for this to be a thing because that has always been what I've been looking for. It's not only the support and love from the people who were supposed to love me and support me the most, but it is the option of me realizing that what I expect to have because I'm seeing from everyone else isn't always the reality for everybody. People are different and those people are out there. When I started to do my living abroad thing, because I have been traveling, this is like, I don't even know, like my seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, I don't even know, place I've lived in. I met a producer who told me, you're gonna meet your people. People who do what you do are a specific type of people and they're out here and they travel abroad and they lose themselves to find themselves. You're gonna find your people, and I did. I made one of my best friends out here. Um, we have like different lives, but very same meeting experiences at certain points. And it has really helped me realize that I'm not alone. And even with the people that I lost, I'm not alone. I'm not alone, and you're not alone. Like, it's such an amazing experience. It's a painful experience because life is painful, and it is also beautiful because that is life in this universe. That is just what it is, my love. If you want to go to a different, plane of existence, I don't know what that's going to look like, and I don't really know how you get there. But here in this universe, in this life, there is no progress without struggle. There's nothing without suffering. There has to be suffering in order for there to be something beautiful on the other end. And you cannot run from what is meant from you because it will always be there. You could be on this side of the road, but your path will always be carried out from you, and those opportunities will always be aligned with you. If you ever diverge back into your path, you will always still be there. um, I think that I used to worry so much about, doing this whole writing and being able to get opportunities again because look at all the things I passed up, but it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Like, we like to think that, like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this now, then it will never be here again. But like, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. It doesn't work that way. I don't know how else to say this, but your opportunities are going to grow with you as a person, and they're only going to get better. I'm really grateful to now understand that because I no longer like freak out. When I left and I went to Arizona, my whole entire lifestyle changed. I'm no longer middle class. I don't have the money that I used to have, and I'm not used to the life I'm living right now. I'm still adjusting, and I'm still growing, but I'm so much far from where I was when I first left because it was like learning how to take off my mask. Literally learning how to not have to feel like I have to wear makeup all the time and wear certain outfits and wear certain shoes and carry a certain bag and be a certain person, but also just like freaking relax, and realize that there's not going to always be someone who's staring at you, girl. You are in Arizona. And even then, I would get requests to do something in certain industries, and I'd be like, how do y'all be finding me? And I look like this. And as I was removing the makeup, that was when more people who I would qualify as like, people who are normal and have like normal families and normal jobs would come up to me and be like, "You're gorgeous." And I'd be like, "Oh, really, girl? Me? Me with my acne and my full, nothing on my face, just like I am right now, my haircut and everything." Like, it's it was something. It was a process. It was a journey, and I'm really grateful for it. I'm grateful for everything in my life. I'm grateful for understanding that my life doesn't need to look a certain type of way in order for it to be accepted. And I get that this is something that is ingrained in us, due to needing to keep control over people, especially installed in from the 80s, where if you weren't patriotic, then you were thrown in jail for that short period of time during the Cold War. Like, I get where this is all instilled in us from. But being a millennial and, any generation that is after me and wanting to change the narrative because it just doesn't fit the general population of people, I am grateful to be in the timeline of realization that this was never meant. All that other stuff was never meant for me, and I can always go back to my home path. So, as I'm literally going back home to New York City, I'm so grateful for all of the friends who have been supporting me. Now, I've had friends, who are like, "Girl, you're just going through too much. I'm gonna have to leave you where you are," and I understand it. And also, thank you for getting out of my way, because sometimes you have to grow through things on your own. But there are plenty of people who are in the media who have their own awards, and they are still championing me on. They'll still be there for me. They still want to help me. They still want to see me grow. And I'm so thankful for that. Thank you so much for not giving up on me. Um, I used to really like wonder, like, oh my gosh, could I go back to the people that I once told no? And I hit up a friend recently. Woo, I'm not going to tell this story, but I hit him up recently and I was like, "I know you're probably still mad at me." And he was like, "Nah, I can never stay mad at you. We just had a misunderstanding." I can always go back to him. I can always go back to certain artists back then when I was a kid and, work with them. I can always go back to certain studios. Like, everything I need is home. I just felt like I needed to run from home because I wanted to get something I thought was missing. But the whole entire time, it was inside of me. Like, the whole entire time, everything that I was looking for was already within me. And the only person I was running from was myself. And once I got the chance to be in isolation and be alone for so long and get to know myself and understand what I won't tolerate in business relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, any type of relationships, and then understand what I needed from me first, and then what I expected from others, and understand that I'm not going to always get what I expected and why, because it's not me. Sometimes I need to remove myself out of the equation. My God, okay? Like, it's really been extremely helpful. I'm very grateful for everything I've learned, and I can't wait to see what's next. I have no doubt in my mind that what's next is something that is probably bigger than what I imagined and manifested, because everything that's happened to me in the last 3 years, like when I bought that equipment, I never would have thought what happened to me happened to me. Girl, I didn't even think I was going to go to one concert, let alone two. I didn't even think I was going to be able to like live in a house during that year. And everything that happened, it was just like, I thought abundance was in money. I was making the least amount of money I've ever made in my life. That year, I was making the lowest amount of money ever. I was working for a horrible job that I hated. And my manager, who honestly was just a hater, um, he was also a musician. And he was just like a freaking hater. And I kept telling him, I kept telling him, like, basically, I'm just doing this job, like, just to do it. Like, it's just a job. Like, please do not ask me, like, what my motivation is or whatever. I do the job good. I do a really great job. I do a really great job. You tell me I'm doing a great job all the time. Let's leave it as that. Like, let's not try to make it more than what it is. And he was like, "I just feel like you're a creative. I don't think you should be doing this job." Granted, you probably should not be a creative. You should probably be one of those people who's biggest happy points in your life is being the person who gets to press next slide on a presentation. If that's what makes you happy, different strokes for different folks. You know what I'm saying? But for me, maybe you were right. Maybe I do need to be creative. Maybe this is not the path for me. You thank you for that. Actually, thank you for that because you weren't wrong about that one. You weren't wrong about that. You a hater, but she was right about that. I was not supposed to be like you. I don't ever want to be like you, ever. No, thank you. Um, but I remember I was making the lowest amount of money and I did not know how I was going to get an apartment. I did not know how I was going to get a beautiful apartment that I liked. I did not know how I was going to not only go to this concert, but also have this amazing vacation, luxurious experience in Las Vegas, and then turn around and fly out again for another concert. Like it was so crazy. And then turn around and then work with that, like, and then get the money to do that. Like when I tell you abundance and life just be happening in the most mysterious ways. Like that really also changed my mindset on abundance and monetary values on abundance and how abundance is not always money. Abundance is opportunity. Abundance is you being able to get an apartment even if all the odds are stacked up against you. Abundance is being able to do things that normally would cost. Because let me tell you something, the tickets that I got, I looked for the Las Vegas show very, very close. Them tickets were at like, I want to say $800, $900. I paid 500 or 400 and change. The second show, when I look back, because I was just curious, I was thinking about selling my ticket. That ticket was 2,000 and change. I paid $300 and change. And I remember I had gotten pre-sale codes that I had to give up because I didn't have the money to actually buy the tickets at the time. And I had gotten two, and then one of my friends gave me hers. And then I had purchased a ticket, a really poor ticket, sold that ticket, and then got my other tickets. And baby, if you would have told me back when I even got the pre-sale codes where I would have been sitting, I would have been like, that's so cute. I manifested that. Wow. Girl, the way I be having dreams and manifesting the things that's going to come up for me next, and the way that every single time I manifest something, it's bigger than what I even imagined. What was I even worried about? What do I even be worried about? Even now in this move going back to New York, I'd be like scared, so nervous, completely afraid, terrified. And then all of the fears that I have just be melting away because it's like, girl, did you forget? Like, first of all, everything works out for you. My mom and my dad has been telling me, like, things just always work out for you. I don't know what you be worried about. I've had friends tell me that too. I had a friend tell me that the only reason why she stuck around me is what I could do for her, and she could never give that love and capacity back to me. She had to go. And I remember there would be people in this industry and friends that I have in this industry, and I'd be like, can you help me with this? And they'd be like, honestly, Jen, I don't want to help you because every time I'll help you with something, you end up doing something better than I could even freaking do. And then I look at myself crazy, so I don't want to do it. And I hated that. I hate it so much because what do you mean? I'm tired of doing everything on my own. Like I want support. I want, but once again, what I'm looking for and what I think is normal doesn't happen for everybody and is not necessarily my path. So once I started to remember that again, it was like things that stressed me out really started to just melt away. And I started to relax and be like, okay, what am I afraid of? So yeah, that's why you haven't seen a video from me in about 2 weeks because baby, I was in rolling the deep. I was in it deep. I was in it deep, baby. I was in it deep. I was going through it. And then I was writing. I would literally step outside to get some air outside of my beautiful, luxurious studio apartment in Southeast Asia. And I would just take the moment to understand that even if I'm not where I want to be right now, look at where I am. And I'm just a speck in it all. Look at all the beautiful people. Look at all the beautiful natural, look like trees. that looks like luxury to someone because they're tropical. Look at the life that I have. Look at the life that I live, the situations I put myself through, what I have going for me, what I've done, and what I'm about to do. Absorb that. And when that feels so big, that's when I have to write. That is when something comes. And sometimes it really just be like when I'm washing the dishes and I can't get something out of my head, and I'm like, let me go record that into my phone real quick. Um, but that is what has kept me, other than all of the BS that has transpired after my last video. And I'm thinking about still putting that video out, but I'm probably going to put it out after a month of me being in New York, like September ish, October ish, maybe. I don't know. The way I got so many messages from the people I was dealing with about the videos I was putting out and the threats I was getting and the threats from the agencies I was working with. Like, not even like the agencies were giving me threats, but the agencies were just trying to talk to me. And I was like, girl, I had tried to talk to you weeks ago, months ago. We're not having a conversation now. I just needed there to be space because there were a lot of eyes on me looking to see what is she going to put out next? What is she going to say next? And it's like, I'm not saying anything that didn't actually happen. Like I'm saying things that happened. It sounds crazy. Imagine being in the situations and the people who were still like they couldn't get out of the situations are scrambling looking for opportunities out of what they're in. Like it was very dramatic, very hectic. I didn't want to be a part of it. I like to watch drama on TV. I like, Real Housewives, Basketball Wives. I like shows like that. I don't want to be in said drama. I like my life to be peaceful. I have a blood clotting disorder. I cannot be stressed out. I don't want that for me. You know what I'm saying? So I needed a breather for me, myself, and I. I really needed that. And I just needed that time. And in those moments, because I almost got to a point where I was so anxious I didn't even want to go outside. When I started to go outside and started to breathe and feel again, that letting myself feel allowed me to create. And wheels started to move, things started to change. I'm really grateful for it. And that is literally just the ebb and flow of life again. So, what can you do, girl? What can you do? What can you do? I've gotten a lot of great messages and positive reinforcements, and friends reaching out to me to make sure that I'm good. And I want to just say thank you so much. Being abroad and having a situation like that happen to you is like really scary. And I have been through worse in my life before. But being in a country where the laws are different, even if you are an American, you know, it's never something that you want to like be in. And I had made a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And all my plans fell apart. And I was just like, you know what? F it. I'm gonna do it the way I have to do it. I'm gonna get out of here. And I'm thinking about releasing the video about what really went down with all of the screenshots and everything because I know there's a lot of people right now who are looking to do what I did. And even though I knew like a lot of like the advertisements that are not really advertisements or whatever on social media, aren't anything but advertisements. When I was signing up for classes with the agencies I was with, the amount of people who were asking me about these influencers, and I'm looking at them like, they have like, if you use that code or, if you watch that video, they get paid commissions. It was baffling me because you have people who are even in like countries like South Africa who don't know what the real life experiences are and how much harder it's going to be for them here until they get here, and then they're realizing what's really going down. Like there are people who are stuck here who can't go home, who are not privileged enough to be able to go home. It got to a point at one point where like I had to borrow money from a friend that I still couldn't even pay back. Like you like child, child. Like you can cross all your T's and dot all your I's. You can do all your research like me, and still things will happen to you. So if I'm not telling people to, not be courageous and like live abroad and try different things. Like I really wanted to do teaching. I went back to school to get my degree in teaching because education is so important to me. And I love learning from others, and I love being around children and having APS. I don't have the opportunity to be around children as much as I would love to because I cannot. I haven't been able to carry full term with antiphospholipid syndrome. So this was a really big blessing for me, and it was something that heals my inner child. But at the same time, nobody prepares you for the situations I went through, and the situations I went through are not uncommon. They're just not. And what people will tell you is like this fairy tale. Well, not even a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale compared to what you're going to go through. But people make it seem like, oh, this is hard. Like I've had so many people like, had when I was in America, had Zoom calls and meetings with me to prepare me and make sure I really wanted to do what I was doing. And girl, like I wanted to dedicate my life because I was so gone at this point to an orphanage and just be an orphanage mother for the rest of my life. Like that's what I was planning to do. So I was like, this is light work. Like, what are you talking about? I don't care. I can survive with a bowl of rice a day, but I know I'm not going to be doing that because I'm American. I have money, American money. And I'm still like, making money off of my writing. And no one could prepare you for what I went through. And no one, and honestly, in my training class, me and maybe like four other people made it through out of like 8 people, 12 people. Nobody talks about that. Everybody just talks about how fun it is. Nobody talks about how when you have no support and you got to get your own visas and you're not really being paid what you're supposed to be getting paid. Nobody really goes over that. And I'm just going a little bit into it. And I hope people don't freaking think about messaging me now. If you're thinking about messaging me now, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. But the amount of people from that class who messaged me back before I even told my story and was like, I think I made the worst decision of my life. It broke my heart because even though I was privileged enough to still have the opportunities I was having out there so that I wasn't drowning, I knew like this was not supposed to be like this. Woo, child. And you don't see a lot of videos about that experience. You see a lot of videos that I can tell, ooh, someone told you to make this or gave you a little hint or a promo code, and it's just I'm all about community. I'm not about profits and money. I'm about community. Like that is way more valuable to me. And I know we're in a capitalistic society, a capitalistic world, but that is so much more valuable to me than a dollar because you could spend it and it could be gone. It could be here today, gone tomorrow. But the people in your community are going to support you, uplift you, at least they should. And when you have a community that's based on monetary value, you're not going to get that. But yeah, that's all I'm going to really say about that. Because, girl, all of that's going to be in the other video. If I even post it, I don't think I am. Please know that girl is for everybody, whether you're a man or not. I don't care. I call everybody girl when I make these videos. Anyone who is an adult can watch these videos. But that's where I've been. I really hope you enjoyed me breaking down fully and explaining this video. If you liked the last video, the style of that video, I'm still trying to figure out like what I want to do with my vlogs because I do like that style of video. It kind of reminds me of a music video I recently saw where they're doing that stop motion. I see it's becoming very popular, especially with TikTok trends becoming very popular on other platforms. Um, I know when I do my New York video, it's probably going to be a little bit of that. But everything in my life, excuse me, including everything in my life, including my music and the projects I'm working on, kind of directly reflect my journey. And within my journey, I have been doing preparation for when I get to New York to do 75 hard. And one of the things that is a part of my 75 hard journey is me walking. I used to walk for like blocks, girl. When I say blocks, I mean blocks. And the main reason why it started is I used to work for this jazz club called the Iridium. Shout out to the Iridium. Hopefully one day I actually perform there. I never thought that that would be something I would do. And I even brought one of my management friends to the club to see a couple performances from a couple of artists that I love that I never would have even thought I would ever see again. And it's just so crazy how life works. And they used to have like this New Year's Eve special where they would have like this celebrity come and she would sing and then you would like, go watch the ball and you pay like thousands of dollars for this ticket or whatever. And everybody knows, anybody who works on 42nd Street, especially during that time, there are no trains for like blocks from like Columbus Circle. I think it's even further than that, but you just like, there's no trains. You have to like, it goes all the way to Brooklyn. So you have to walk. And I'm talking 20, 30, 40, 50 plus blocks, okay? And after a while, walking in heels for that long to get to work and to get home, that's light work. So I used to walk that. I used to walk home from 42nd. I used to, and I'm like, that sounds crazy. I literally did not care. Like when I had a lot on my mind, I would walk from 42nd Street to Harlem. From 42nd Street to Harlem, baby. To Harlem. Like sometimes I'd be like, all right, I'm getting to 96th Street or 125th. I'm gonna catch the bus or the train. This is too much. I'm overdue. I'm ODing now. Or I'll go to Whole Foods. But I would walk all that way. So my new goal is to walk 40, 50, 60 plus blocks every day because that's my journey, that's my plan, right? I really want to shred some more weight, but I also want to like open myself up to my surroundings. The whole entire reason why I'm even going back home is because I hate driving anyway. So move those legs, move those feet. Because when I was living in the Southwest, baby, it was cars, 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 cars. My body was just not moving the way it's supposed to be moving. And my body reflected that in health and also the way it looked. And while I am walking, I will be vlogging like I am a tourist in my own city because it's been so long and so many things have changed. And I want that to be a part of my, experience, my journey, my vlog, my life, my capture. And I'll be making like little pit stops at favorite coffee houses and museums and all these things. And I want to incorporate that in my vlog. So I'm not really sure what my vlog styles are going to look like, but I'm going to be forcing myself to work out, forcing myself to take progress pics, and forcing myself to remember. So, mwah, so beautiful. And I think I also might vlog when I walk to places like when I walk to brunch, when I walk to the studio, when I walk, because it's going to make me actually walk and do it. So I'm not really sure what that's gonna look like, but if you liked the last style of those vlogs, those travel vlogs that I did, it will probably look like that again, just because I know New York City is full of influencers with their big cameras and their selfie sticks, but girl, I'm not trying to be that girl. Like that, that still hasn't gelled all the way over for me. So it's just gonna be me and my phone. Like I don't really know. I like even turn this sideways. It's like, I'm taking a video, and if you are a native New Yorker, you're like, oh, here are these, TikTok girls. Like I'm too old to be doing that, I feel, I don't know. So, yeah, like I could be a tourist in this city because I'm an actual tourist. Like I'm not from here. You could tell that I'm not from here. I'm a black girl in an Asian city, but Back at home, it feels weird because I am from New York, you know. So look forward to that. That would be cool. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this holds you over until I get to New York because I'm not sure if I'm going to post the other videos until then. Or even if I'll be in New York very soon. So I'll probably be in New York by the time I actually release this video. So if I don't post the video immediately after this, please don't be mad at me. I do want to like get it out there just because I know so many of us do want to travel abroad. So I feel like I have like a duty or responsibility to actually talk about my experience because it is not uncommon. But just bear with me because it is a lot and it was a lot for me to go through. And I am so strong and so brave, and I understand that. But I'm not, superhuman, and I'm not a person made of stone. I do have feelings. Um, but yeah, hopefully this held you over, and you get to know a little bit more about what I'm doing, so that the next vlogs, when you watch them and you're like, "What is this girl doing? She in a new city. She's doing day-to-day activities." It's because I'm back in my path, and hopefully, this aligns with you and you're in your path, and your path is glorious and you're in my community. And if you would like to join my community, come, like, follow, subscribe, do all the things, or don't, girl, I don't know. But hopefully you like this enough, and then you'll like my music. And then after you like my music, you like my music videos, and then we could just be in this thing together. So what do you say? See you next time. Bye, y'all.